Good morning, good afternoon, wherever you are. My name is Kevin Porman. I'm a developer advocate here at Salesforce, and I'm going to open up my helper app so that I can see the chat messages. Seem to be having an issue with the chat messaging today. Let's see where that gets us. Did it not launch? Trailhead Live helper. Where are my windows? Here we go. It appears that we don't have chat enabled today. Okay, well, you can reach me on the Twitters at @CodeFryer, and today we're going to be working with something called custom property editors. We were starting this last week. We were working on a query builder. Now, if you remember our query builder, we had it worked out so that we could do, select an object and where clause and select clause, build all that out. We got most of that done last week, and this is what we ended up with at the end of it. We got this one invocable method that we're going to be able to use in our flow, and it's going to go out and it's going to build out our query with the different parts, select clause, all that information, and then it's going to return to us the database.query results right there. Now, interestingly enough, we've got some of this work that we didn't actually finish. So if you look here, get where clause, not done. Get order by, we return that as a blank space. Same with the get offset, we'll just return a space there. But this where clause, we're going to have to be, think through this. Now our request over here, we've got our request class, and the data coming into our request class comes from that flow and from our custom property builder. And what happens is we're going to be able to load that up, and we've got this where clause string there, but we also have this, and this is the more interesting bit in my opinion, a list of where clause elements, right? And that is this other class, the flow query where clause class. And so let's look at what that has. We have an operand, a left side, a comparison method, a right side, and right side collection. Now, collection, that's some of the magic bits we're going to get to here in a little bit today. But we're going to start off by building a method on our where clause part that is going to return for us the actual where clause, compiled where clause. So let's do this. Let's do public string clause. Do where clause. Well, see, the class is called where clause. It's where clause part. So we'll do get clause. Yeah, we'll do that. And then here what we need to do is we need to return a string. So we'll do string clause equals that, and then we'll do clause plus equal to, and then here we'll put in our operand. Okay, and then we'll have clause plus equal to space. Here, actually, I like doing this here. We'll do plus space. No, I want a space. Thank you. And then down here, what we're going to say is our left-hand side, our left side, plus do like this. And now we have to be a little bit tricky because our comparison method is going to come back to us as a string. So we can do clause plus equal to, not right side, but we're going to say comparison method plus that space there. And now we're going to say if comparison method is equal to in, we'll do comparison method equals, ignore case, in, or comparison method equals, ignore case, not in. Then, oh do this. Go back here. Let's make that line up a little better. Comparison method not n. Then we want to say we need the collection, so we'll go with clause plus equal to the collection, which in this case is going to be right side collection. Else, or just do clause plus equal to right, oh, not a space there, right side. Now I'm fully anticipating that we're going to have some issues with that, not the least of which is if we have an array of where clause parts, the first one is going to have an operand that we don't care about because we're not going to say where and, so we need to be able to strip that off. And so let's go down here to our get where clause, return, and what we're going to do is here we're going to say if where clause parts, where clauses dot size, if not equal to null, and where clauses dot size is greater than 0. Then we're going to for type is where clause part. We'll do where clauses. Okay, so now we're going to iterate over this. We're going to say, let's create a string here, string where clause, like that, and then we'll do part where clause dot part dot get where clause. Now we call it get where clause. Let's go back and look at that. Get clause. Get clause sounds like I'm about to get Santa. Get clause. Okay. So do that. Okay, now else we'll make these mutually exclusive. Return. Actually, we'll just do where clause is equal to where clause string, and here we'll make this where clause, and we need to get rid of the first and or at the beginning of this. Strip the first word. Let's do this. Apex string methods strip first word. Get first word in string. I could do that. We'll do, okay, so list string words is equal to where clause string dot split where clause comma on space, yeah, on space. Then we'll do apex list methods. I think I want pop, but I can't remember. Constructors, methods, clone, clear, add. index of is empty iterator remove. Hey, look at that. We'll just remove it. So we'll just say words dot remove 0 because we want the first one gone, and then we'll return string dot join words comma space. Okay, so that gets rid of our first operand. Strip first operand from our where clause. Okay, so we're going to do that. Order by you know what, we're going to take order by out for right now because I realized that I don't have a, well, actually here, we'll leave it back in. We'll make this work. So we're going to have our order by, and we're going to return, instead of a string, and return that empty string here, we're going to say order by, like that. Okay, and offset, we'll do return offset, like that. Offset, is it offset or offset by? Let's go back up and look at our variables here. Request has got, okay. Missing return statement on line 47, needs to be of the right type. Public straws. Okay, so I need to return clause. Look at that. Okay. Variable does not exist. Offset. That's right. I think it's offset by. From object, where clause string, order by, offset by. And that is down here in 170. So let's go to that. There we go. And that's a number, so we'll do string dot value of, like that. And then we've got this one over here, string split. Split from the type string. Let's look at our docs. Apex string methods. Okay, let's see if we've got anybody tweeting at me today here. Anybody on the Twitters giving me questions, comments, or snide remarks? Nope, I'm not seeing anything. So we'll move on. Again, today we're working on a custom flow query builder, and we're going to be working on the Lightning web component that is our custom property editor here in just a second, as soon as we wire this together. So we've got our split, string split. It's a interesting. It's a instance method. Oops, wrong way. So we'll do where clause dot split, like that. Save that. Okay. Now, 16 minutes into this, we have wired up our flow query builder. We've got that to deploy. Now here's where the fun part really comes in. Let me show you what I've already built with this, and you'll get an idea of what we're able to do. And then we're going to tweak it a little bit. Now I've pre-built some of this because there's a lot to it, and it's a lot of not terribly exciting Lightning Web Component work, but I've got this in here, and I'm going to double click on it. Now, what you're seeing here is a custom property editor. Now, the custom property editor is a Lightning Web Component that is tied to an invocable action. And when you put that invocable action into your flow, instead of seeing the normal, what variable do you want to use here? You see the custom Lightning Web Component that you've developed. And that's really key because you can do all sorts of amazing things in that Lightning Web Component and still pass that data on to your actual action. So what we have here is a ability to have drop downs that are going to let us choose between different field definitions. So we can use the fields method, the sockle method, to choose all standard or custom, or we can have our own custom selected fields there. We've also got the ability to choose which object we want. We're going to use contact today. And then down here we've got our where clauses that we can put in, and we can put in multiple rows of our where clauses, make this as specific as we want using ands and ors in order to get that. But let's look at what that looks like when we first drag it onto the canvas. Yes. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to delete that here, turn my flow layout back on, choose my action. Now I've named mine flow query builder, and so if we were to go back over to our code here, you'd find that as we look at our actual invocable method, it shows builder, and then it'll say flow query builder and execution, right? And the thing that ties our custom property editor to our Apex invocable action is this line here in the invocable method. And you'll see that it's a fully qualified Lightning Web component name. So I've got mine named flow query property editor because naming things is hard, right? And I've prefaced it with C- because that's the custom namespace that the consumer namespace, the one you normally get. So that's what I have there, is my tying it together. So when I load my flow query action into the actual display of the actual flow, what I get is the body of my flow component that's going to show up here. So what I'm going to do is at the top of this, I'm going to say, hello, CodeLivers. We'll save that. Saving. And you'll see that we're going to get our hello CodeLivers at the top of our, if I go the right way. So if I'm going to choose, I'm going to reload this real quick. Reload the page. And as I reload it, what I'm going to do is, I got to remove it again. Delete. Lose positions. Save. Okay, now I shouldn't have to delete that again. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go in here and clear our action, and I'm going to grab my flow builder. Here's my builder component. And you'll see it goes in there, and then there's our hello CodeLivers. Okay, so this is our custom Lightning Web component that we're seeing, and I've done some work already in this custom Lightning Web component in order to make this property editor, the properties we need for our flow query builder, make it much safer and easier to use. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to choose whether or not we want to use a predefined fields class. I'm going to choose standard. And I found out through experimentation yesterday, and I tweeted about this, that you don't actually, if you don't have overlap, then you're going to be fine. So you could do something like, foo here, and as long as foo underscore C is not part of standard fields, it'll work just fine. But we're going to leave that blank for right now. We're going to choose an option, and for right now, I've got this locked to contact, and we'll get into a little bit about that here in a bit. But what we're seeing here is this list of all these objects in the org. Now this is the standard Scratch org that I just created for this, and what I found out is there's some about 850 different objects that you can query out of the box. And so that may not be, you may not want to have all 850 to choose from. And it's not the greatest interface here, but it is working here. And I'm just looking for contact. If it'll let me find, there's contact. Okay, choosing a contact, and now I can either choose my static where clause or I can use my where clause builder. And this is a table that I've put together, and I'm iterating over my where clause lines in my custom Lightning Web component. And so what I can do here is I can say I want this to be and I'm going to do this placeholder, and this placeholder is really important. This is going to be, or excuse me, our left side is very important. This is going to be a field on the object we're querying, contact, that we can choose from. So I'm going to do account ID, and I'm going to choose my comparison method, set it to in. My right side is a placeholder, I don't need that, but I can choose this get accounts, and that's important here. This get accounts is the output variable from a previous step. And in our previous step, we ran the standard get records action for the data action for a flow to grab me all the accounts that were of type prospect. Okay, not a big deal, but now I have a list of accounts, and what I'm doing with this query, my custom query builder, is I'm finding all of the contacts whose account ID is in a pre-existing list, which isn't something you can do out of the box with the flow data's get records action. So this is sort of like the quintessential example of why you might want to use a custom flow builder, or excuse me, a custom query builder in Flow, is so that you can do this sort of in or not in or that sort of work with your previously collected data from your flow. So I'm gonna hit done. Oh, I have 2 errors. That's because I haven't given it a name. Okay, example 1. I'll do that there. Now I'm going to make sure that I haven't lost anything, and I'll hit done. Okay, now we've got that going on here. Now what we can do is we can debug this. Open this up here in a debug. You know what I need to do? I need to, before I debug it, I need to save it. Saving is good. Now I've had some people, let's see here. I have some people tweeting at me, seeing if anybody's going to say, nope, just random stuff. So let's go ahead and debug this. We're going to use those same things here. Now it says it's all done, flow finished right here, and I got my get accounts. Why did it not run my actual method here? Run again. Let's try that again. Save. Huh, that didn't work. Something went wrong. Let's reload that. That's why. Let's put our action back in there. We'll do test 1, 2, 3, 4. Predefined standard fields. We're going to use the contact. It's bugging me that these are not in alphabetical order. It's really bugging me, so we have to fix that. Contact, okay. And we're going to do and placeholder account ID. We're going to do in, get rid of that placeholder, get accounts. There we go. So we've got that set up, and I'm going to save this. What do you mean something went wrong? Save as. Test 2. Okay, something went wrong. Let's edit this element. Cannot set ID on object. Object is read only. All right, that's a helpful error message. To use values. The inputs for the flow query core action. To use output, store them in variables. I think I know what I did wrong. Let's reload that. I've been arguing with this for about a day and a half here, and I've discovered some quirks about the custom property editors. We do test 1, 2, 3. That's fine. We'll do standard fields. We will come in here and do our contact. And account ID in get accounts. What I'm going to do is I'm going to go to advanced, and I'm going to manually assign variables. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to set my return list to a variable. I'm going to get this my output vars. It is a type of record, multiple collection, and my object of this record is going to be contact. Okay, hit done. And this one is going to be a new variable. Now, my code defines my output failure info as a string. So we're going to do variable name. We're going to failure info, and this is going to be a text. Okay. Done. Now let's see if this saves. That did not work. Something went wrong. Okay. Let's see. Do I have any issues with my flow? I don't have any issues with this. That's saved just fine. That is saved just fine. So let's go back here. You know what? Let's do this. Let's leave this flow. I want to make sure that my code is proper, and then I've got this list to contact. I do. All right, so I'm going to create a new flow. All else fails, start over. We'll do screen flow, auto layout. First thing we're going to do is we're going to get some records. We're going to do these accounts, and we're going to do account, and we're going to set this one to be type, and we're going to set this one to prospect. Okay, and we want all the records, store all the fields. Done. Okay. Now we're going to try, oh, here, let's save this. Demo. All right, there we go. That's saved. Let's put our action in here. Query builder, demo 1. And we're going to do standard fields. We're going to do this to be contact. Okay. And account ID in. Don't need that, but I do need accounts. And I'm going to manually assign my variables. This one is going to be a variable. Your info. It is a text field. Done. And this one is going to be new resource. Not a constant, sorry. Variable is going to be contact records. And this is a record collection. The object is contact. Boom. Done. Done. That's saved. Well, that's not helpful. Why are we not saving? Object. I don't really know what that means. Let's turn off auto layout. So one of the things that I'd like to do is inspect this. Let me put this back in the here's my inspection. Promise invalid mutation. Cannot set ID on object. Object is read only. Object. I don't think that's it. Okay, so let's figure out what's causing this and see if that may be causing the issue. Make that a little bit smaller. Now, one thing that I've discovered that I can do in order to help clean things up is I can start turning off things. The only one of these that's actually required is our from query, from clause. So we can save that, turning off everything else, and see if that causes it to save. Because I suspect that there's some issue deep in the heart of what I'm doing. I didn't want that one. Okay. And I can turn off this. Okay, so we just have the select and from. Let's narrow down what's going on. See if we can't figure this out. See if anybody's hit me up on the Twitter. You can hit me at CodeFryer if you are not aware. Don't have chat working today. I'm not sure what's going on, but we will take care of that. I'm going to delete this. Okay, reload our flow. We'll go in here and we'll add an action again. We'll choose our flow builder. Now you'll see that this is much simplified. All we have is the object. So let's choose contact. Okay. We'll do ID first name, last name. We'll give this one test. That's save. Okay. So we know that we've got an issue with some bit of this. Let's figure out what that might be. Now we are also getting an issue if we open this, but that's working. So let's go ahead and go back into our code. Let's turn back on our fields option. Okay. And reload this. I'm going to double click on this. Should load up just fine. Yeah, okay. So that's fine. Get rid of that. We'll save this. I've got a debugger statement here in my validator, so let me just hit that. That worked like it works fine. I'm going to save it. Okay. Now, I'm just for grins and giggles, I'm going to put back the other bits that I've commented out here. See if we can't figure out what's causing that. Save that. Because that where clause is where the magic is, right? So if we reload this, bring up our custom property editor, that's working just fine. So contact, standard fields, that's what we want. Over here, I'm going to do and count ID in, don't need that, do need accounts, hit done. Okay, I'm going to save that. It did not like that. It did not like that. Do we have any idea why? Let's see, our console handle where clause changed. Let's see. Cannot set ID on object. Well, this is complicated stuff, and I suspect it has to do with the way I am looping here over this. So, why would that? I wish I had a better error message. Like, what does that even mean? Make this bigger. Well, let's look at our flow query property editor. This is our JavaScript controller for that. And I've got these property get where clauses. Let's go ahead and put a breakpoint there and reload this. See if we can't figure this out. And it may be, I'm just gonna set the expectation here that we may not be able to get this to work quite like we want it to. Okay, so that worked. And if I hit done and save it, can I save the record? Can I save this? Okay. So it's having a problem saving the individual operand. Here, let's just do and account ID in. We're going to do accounts, save. And that did not work. So when we look at our flow builder, property editor, I've got this handle where clause change. I'm just going to bump that up. Let's see what we're in JavaScript, so console.log. We're going to do JSON stringify value changed event, because this is a list. We don't need that. Save this. I'm wondering if it's having a hard time bubbling that up. I keep going the wrong way here. Let me fix that. Put this over here. Okay, great. Now, I'm going to double click on this. Yes, failure. Okay. I was trying to rehydrate that, and it can't. So, if I were to... Okay, so I clear my console, and... Okay. Here's my new value ID operand. It's a list. Okay, that's right. This is going to be account ID. Seems to need some bouncing there, but okay. Interesting. New value list. But this new value is not, it's saying placeholder. I don't need to stringify that. Let's make this easier to read. Okay. And if I go to this, choose in, comparison method is still set to equals. Right side is set to placeholder. And this is accounts. I have a logic issue here. This where clause rows. That's never changing. This where clause rows is never changing. That's why. So, debugger, and we'll do okay. let's change. Oh, I gotta reload it to get it to load. All right, so here in the debugger, we have stopped, and I can say this dot where clauses. Really? What did I call it? Something different? This is where clause prototype, where clause rows. Aha. Be helpful if I said the right thing. Okay, come down here, rows. I hate that it's a proxy because now I can't tell what it is. So we have to do JSON dot parse JSON dot stringify this dot where clause rows. All right, so we have an array of objects, and our object ampersand is okay. So that's the default though. Okay, so I'm going to choose the placeholder of I'm going to choose my comparison method of in, which is not the default. It's not the first one. And so if we do that exact same thing here, we should see that it says in left side placeholder. So that is not, that's not correct. Okay. So we have the data index set for all of those except for the right side one. The key is set. I don't know what keystroke just brought that upon it, but there we go. Data index on the lightning input, okay. And so should this be ID? Working with the loops of components is more difficult than I would like, and I don't have enough experience to doing it to really make sure that to have the confidence that I need in order to feel like I got it working as I expect. Okay, so that gave me this. Okay, so if I choose or, should be able to come over here. So I still get the operand of that. Now, a reason is because that object is not changing. But this is my row. Well, we've gotten bogged down in debugging this, and I wanted to really show off a couple of cool things about making this user interface useful. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to pause here, and I'm going to have to come back and figure out why I'm having the difficulties I'm having. But what I want to do is I want to open a flow query helper class, and in here I've got this get objects method, and you'll see that it's Aura enabled, and I'm able to pull in my list of queryable objects. And all I'm doing is a schema describe and then checking to see if it is queryable. I should probably also do, because if you can't create it, you're not going to have records. So I'm going to do object describe dot is creatable, like that. But more importantly, I want to come down here and I want to do at Aura enabled. We're going to do public static. We're going to do map of string to string, and we're going to do get fields as our method name. Fields. Now, get fields here is going to require a parameter of object. So we'll do string object. Okay, and then what we're going to do is we're going to do a describe for that particular object and get its fields. So we'll do schema dot describe s object result describe info is equal to schema dot get s object describe. It's gonna be an object type. Now is a good time to Google Salesforce schema describe get field list. Yeah, I thought that had to be done in 2 steps. We'll just ixnay that over here. So we've got sObject type, and this is going to be our dynamic type. Schema get global describe get, and we're going to pass in our object. Object, because object is a keyword. Okay, so get fields, object here, and then we're going to have this map string schema object. It's going to be dynamic fields is going to be equal to dynamic type get describe fields get map. All right, so that's going to get us our map of that, and then we want to we just need the dynamic describe fields get map. I don't know that exists fields. I don't know that I trust that. Okay, so 10 minutes left here. We're going to look at dynamic fields get describe fields get map, and that is going to give us a string and then the sObject field definition. And what we really want is a return map. String return string, and we'll do for string key in dynamic fields dot key set, like this, and we'll do return map dot put key comma dynamic fields dot get key dot what's the field schema dot sObject field schema dot sObject field sObject field class. I want the API name. Get describe get describe dot get Is there not a get API name? Is it just get name? Get described, get name, like that. Now we will return map, like that. Okay. Now we can grab a list of fields on the object that we've chosen when we pass in a string token representation of that object. Now that's saved without issue, and that's mildly frightening. But what we can do now is in our flow query property editor, and our property editor over here, we can now wire that in. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to say import fields from at Salesforce Apex flow query helper get fields. That was easy. Loved how that added to that. Now I've got a query in here that is going to go out and @wire my fields. So we're going to do something very similar. We're going to do an @wire fields, and we're going to do this into make field options, and we're going to do error data, and we'll do, this is going to be our object, and we'll do this is going to be our, what we call it, our from object. I don't feel like that's the right syntax, so let's do this. Trailhead apps LWC recipes, we've got that here. I'm just going to go into force app and go to default, and we'll do LWC. And what I'm going to do here is I'm going to look at Apex wire method to property, nope, with params. There we go. So here's our example of how to do this, and it's okay, so it's on the first one, okay, not the second. So our data here is this part goes up here, and what do we have this? Oh, it's okay. There we go. Okay, so when our from object is selected, we're then going to call this wire method. If data, and what we'll do is we'll do for, oh yeah, there's a weird quirk I've discovered where I have to do constant field options like this, and then for constant label in data, and then I'm going to do field options push label, and then I'm going to say data label. Yep, that'll work. And then I'm going to say this dot field options is equal to options, or to field options. Okay, so we got that there. Field options. I've also got this set up to be object options. So if I scroll up here, I've got object options. I'm going to do the same thing. Track field options. Good. Save that. Now I'm going to come over here to my text, and I'm going to, just for grins and giggles, I'm going to copy this combo box bit, and I'm going to go to where I am selecting in my thing here. I've got a left side clause that is set right now as a text field. I'm going to change that to be a combo box so that I can be sure that whatever field you choose, the user chooses, is a valid choice for that selected from object. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to say value is not operand, it's going to be left side. Okay, and then my operand options is going to be field options. Okay, and we'll save that. And hopefully we'll be able to demonstrate this last bit here working in the 3 minutes. Got some interesting issues we were running into today. I'm going to reload this. Okay, and I'm going to, just to get rid of any of the issues we were having earlier, I'm going to recreate this. I'm going to add my, close that for right now. Action. I'm going to do builder. Okay, now what's really cool here is, as soon as I choose my option, I'm going to say contacts again. Maybe, if I can find it. I still haven't sorted these by alphabet. Contact. Okay, so now I can go over here and no, it's not actually. Okay, I suspect that's because this from object is actually a getter. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to create a @track from object value. Okay, and then my from object value. Every time I call get my from object, I'm going to say this dot from object value is equal to this dot get this dot property. Okay, like that, and I'm going to do the same thing whatever it changes. So handle selected from object change, and then I'll do this, save that. That should update our track, hopefully. And if we cancel, reload this. Yes. There we go, our action, builder. Uh-oh, updating the template of has side effects on the state of object. Uh-oh. All right, guys, guys and gals, we are at time. I'm going to keep working on this. I will update you via the Twitters, and this will end up in, hopefully end up in Apex Recipes here as the query builder of awesomeness. So we will keep working on this. Had a couple issues today. Thanks for tuning in, and more info as I work out these issues.